Hello.
Hello. Okay. Please turn on your camera, yeah?
That's right.
Okay.
Mau lagi kameranya. So it won't turn on.
Hmm? What is it?
It won't turn on.
Really? Maybe try it again.
Yeah. It won't even
Hmm.
stuck.
Maybe try using different camera.
Only one.
Hmm. Okay, okay. Hmm. Okay then. We're just gonna continue our material, yeah? Okay. So what is it? Okay. So for our
I
last
can't
session,
click anything.
huh?
It's stuck. I can
Ah,
see you, I can hear you, but I can't press anything.
you cannot press anything. Maybe try to reset the laptop. Maybe it has some lag on it. Try to reset it. You may leave the Zoom first. You may leave the meeting first to restart the camera. Restart the whole meeting.
Huh? Hello? Can you still hear
Hello?
me?
Hello? Yeah, yeah, I can hear you.
Hello?
Hear me?
I turned off the application.
Oh, just try to restart the laptop. Maybe it has something to do with your hardware. So just try to restart the laptop. Can you do that? Okay. Okay. Hello, Bex.
Hello?
Hello. Can you hear my voice?
Still cannot use the camera though.
Oh, okay. You may turn off your camera then. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we will be continuing our material. Yeah. So did you remember what the last material that we have been discussing? Do you still remember about it? We have a mini
Mm-hmm.
quiz, if I'm not mistaken, right? What's the material?
The material.
For the last week.
Name Chan. Something percent. How is it? Yeah, percentage.
No, not percentage.
How is it? A chance.
Uh, wh-
Possibilities.
yeah, what is no? Yeah, the bigger picture. What is the bigger picture of possibilities? Possibility
Uh,
is one of the word or keyword in what material?
I forgot what the name was.
Yeah, it starts with also a P.
Possibility.
Yeah, possibility. What is the synonym for possibilities?
Pythagorean theorem.
No, the synonym of possibilities. Come on, come
Uh,
on.
uh,
What is the synonym for it?
percentage.
No, not percentage. Possibilities. Come on. Pro,
The
pro,
ability.
huh?
Probability.
Yeah. So last week we have been discussing about probability, right?
Isn't
Okay.
that what I just said?
Possibilities. You said possibilities.
No, I said
You said
probability.
possibilities.
I said probability.
Possibilities. I heard you said
Probability.
possibilities.
I said probability.
Possibilities. I'm standing
Yeah.
on my. I heard my with my own ear. You said possibilities, not probability.
Or I got
Possibilities.
no.
You said probability after I guide you to that word.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes. Okay. So
No.
last week we have been doing a mini quiz, right? So I'm gonna review about it first. Okay. So okay, I'm gonna see your scores for that. Yeah. Okay. So okay, your final grade is 89. Okay. Let's review about it. Yeah. Okay. Okay. For the first one, you get 100%, right? You get also 100% mark. For number three, yeah. So for this one, okay. So
Hmm?
suppose F is the event that Fran will forget to get her diary signed tonight. So the A said the F action, which is the complementary event of F. You said it. I don't know what does it mean. What does it mean? Is it the complementary?
Uh,
From forgets diary. So the
no, it's
original word
Fran forgets dairy.
Fran forgets diary. It's supposed to be. It's supposed to be kan harusnya kan the event itself is Fran will forget to get her diary. Ya. Jadi kalau misalkan the complement of it, it's supposed to be the event. The complementary event is that Fran will not
Ah,
forget to get her
oh,
diary. The complementary. You said Fran forgets diary, which is the F, right?
oh.
That's what you state is the F. Got it, Bex?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the complementary, yeah. You still remember about what is a complementary event, right? So for example, I'm gonna give
Mhm.
you another example.
The opposite of something, or
Yeah,
a
opposite of
thing that
something.
can only happen if the other one did not happen.
Yeah. So for example, Bex eating a cereal. So what is the complementary event of Bex eating a
Not eating
cereal?
cereal, which is
Not eating cereal.
100% currently.
Yeah, which is 100%. So what is the chances of Bex eating a cereal right now?
0.
0. Yeah, because you're not eating a cereal. Yeah. Okay, so that's the only mistake that you did. Yeah. So for the the others, yeah, you got it correct. Yeah. Even though I would be much prefer if you answer it step by step. Yeah, like this. Yeah. So for the A, you answer it with will not forget to get her diary. For the complementary event probability, you show the step by step, which is you subtract the 1 with the 0.23, right? Which is the probability for the original event. And for the, which is more likely to occur, yeah, of course, you can see which one is larger, yeah? So the F complementary, okay? Okay. And yeah, this is I can accept this, yeah. So doubtful, very likely, Sunday, yeah. So I think you got it right, yeah. So likely, yeah. Yeah. For me, yeah. I would be describing the event, yeah. For example, a feather, yeah. We go to the problem first, yeah. So a weather forecast reported a 45% chance of snow, 80% chances of snow on Sunday, yeah. So for such a day, I'm gonna use 50-50 chances. It almost, yeah. Can I do that? Almost
Yeah.
50-50 chance, yeah. That the weather will be snowy on Saturday, yeah. As in kalau for Sunday, yeah, it is almost likely. Can I do that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I do that for the 80% chances? Almost likely.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do that, yeah. And whereas for the B, which is are more likely to snow, yeah, of course the Sunday, yeah. If I ask you which one is more likely to not snow on Saturday or Sunday, to not snow.
Uh. What?
If I ask you which one is more likely to not snow on Saturday or on Sunday, to not snow.
Saturday.
Saturday, yeah, because what is the chances of not snowing on Saturday?
45.
Not snow.
Wait, did I say? Did I say I was saying 8? Did I say it's Sunday?
For this one,
For B.
yeah, for B, you answer Sunday, but I make an extra question. Just assume that I'm making an extra question. If I ask you that which one are more likely to not snow on Saturday or on Sunday? What do you think?
On Saturday.
To not snow on
Yeah, Saturday.
Saturday. What is the probability of not snow on Saturday? Hmm?
Hmm?
What is the chances of not snow on Saturday? Can you answer it?
Not snow on Saturday.
Uh-uh.
40, 55,
Huh?
55.
55. What about not snow on Saturday?
Not snow on Saturday.
Oh, no, Sunday. I'm sorry. On Sunday.
10%. 20.
Huh? 20. Okay, good, yeah. And so for this one, I think you already hatam. Sudah. You already know the question, yeah? This is easy, yeah? Okay. Okay, so I think we're gonna end for our discussion regarding about probabilities. Yeah. And that will be our topics in the finals. Not finals, yeah. For the quiz one, yeah. So don't forget. Yeah, so this is just a reminder, yeah. Friendly reminder. Okay. So for today, we're gonna talk about probability and not probability, statistics, yeah. Statistics. Okay, just a reminder that on Thursday, 13 November, yeah, 2025, we will be having a quiz one. Quiz one. Okay. So for the topic, it will be consist of probability that we already discussing. And we will be also discussing about statistics, which is the one that we will be discussing for today. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna open the books. Yeah. So which one is what? Which one is which? Yeah. Uh, which one? Okay. Okay, so we're gonna about. So I think for our statistic, we just gonna review what we have learned about. For we already learned about this for maybe last week, for in the last batches. Yeah. So I'm gonna just review what is. Can you recall what is a categorical data? What is a categorical data?
Categorical
What is a
data.
categorical? Yeah, categorical data.
Uh,
Or can you give me an
that
example? Yeah, example. What is a categorical data?
data with multiple of the variables.
No, that's not categorical data. Can you give me an example?
Something that can be put into categories such as like like for example, how much someone caught fish.
Are you sure? Okay, how much? Yeah. How much does a person? How much fish that a person catches categorize is belong to a categorical data or an ordinal numerical data?
Numerical.
Numerical. So what is a categorical
Oh,
data?
categorical data. Then and like something that is described in words.
In words, yeah. So it has some category on it, right? Hence its name, right? So yeah, well, basically, categorical data is a data that that has finite length. Yeah, finite. Uh, okay, let's see. Let's just see. Yeah. So from the example, yeah. So this is the example, yeah. So Zach and Ed both enjoy going fishing, yeah. So Zach and Ed catches this much fish, yeah, over the holiday. Zach catches 5, 8, 4, 6, 9, and so on. Ed also catches 8, 7, 10, and so on. Yeah. So this one is a numerical data. Yeah, because it is described usually. Yeah, it is described using numbers. Yeah. Does that means
Okay.
uh but but describing a data using number doesn't necessarily means that it is a ordinal data, a numerical data. Yeah. Because, for example, I can make a category. I can make a category using numbers. Yeah. So, for example, uh, this is just an example. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just an example. Yeah. Uh, I built a restaurant. Yeah. So let's just example for the example, I have a restaurant. Yeah, I have a restaurant. Oh, I have a restaurant. And then I want to categorize the customer in my restaurant to some category. I want to categorize or segmenting the uh, customer that are in the restaurant to some category based on their wealth or maybe based on their uh, spending in the restaurant in one night. For example, I will categorize. There will be a poor one, super poor. Let's just call it super poor, yeah. Or maybe low spender, yeah, low spender, low spender. There is super low, yeah, super low. Ada low, ada intermediate spender. There's also, for example, high spender. And there will also ultra high spender. Yeah. So this is a categorical data. So this is the category. This is what we call the category. So it will be a categorical data when we have a sets of customer and its category. For example, this is I'm gonna use this table, yeah. For example, there is a customer. There's bags, yeah. There's Aufar. There's Rila. There's Rinaldi, for example, yeah. Nah, again, what I want to mention, what I want to emphasize that describing a data using numbers doesn't necessarily means that it is a numerical data, yeah. Because, for example, I don't want to spend my time to route all the category one by one. Yeah, for example, it will be time time consuming, right? When I have to write all the data like this low spender, high spender, gitu ya. Instead, I'm gonna use a number. I'm gonna use super low spender using number 1. This one is 2, this one is 3, this one is 4, and this one is 5. So now, instead of uh, writing the super low spender, manually, I'm gonna use the numbers. So for bags, I'm gonna categorize it as ultra high spender 5. Alfar, for example, yeah, it's a 1 because he's so poor. Yeah, Rila can be 3, Rinaldi can be 4. Gitu. Okay. So you see that the number here, even though this is a number, there is a range. There is a range of number that can be used. Okay, got it, Bex?
Got it.
Yeah, so basically, when it is a categorical data, the number has a range, gitu ya, has a range on it. Okay, okay, let's continue ya. So categorical data, yeah. So this is the definition, yeah. Data which can be placed in categories, yeah. This is a categories data. Yeah, for example, suppose the students in Alan class are asked to name their favorite subject. Yeah. So they can art, music, mathematics, music, English, mathematics. You see that there is a pattern, right, of category. Some might say mathematics, right? So we can you define what is the classes that is the or the subject that are or the category that exists on this problem set, problem X? Can you describe all the categories on here? X?
Yeah.
Can you categorize can you describe all the categories on this problem?
all of this problem?
Yeah, on my screen. Can you describe
Okay,
the
so
category?
there is, for art, there are 3 kids. Music, there
I'm
is,
I'm not asking about the data. I'm just asking the categories. Can you describe the
oh,
categories of
art,
this?
music, math, English, and science.
Is there any? Is there other categories outside that?
No,
English? Have you say English? Have you said English?
yeah, I already said English.
English. Yeah. So how many categories on in total?
How many categories total?
Yeah. How many category in total?
5.
5? Yes, 5, yeah. There is 5 categories in total. Okay. So this is the category data, yeah. Now to describe categorical data, we usually use this one, tally and frequency table. Yeah. So we can organize our data using tally and frequency table. Yeah, which is frequency of a category. Yeah. So what is the definition of a frequency of a category? So frequency of a category is the number data in that category. Yeah, basically the how many, for example, for the context of the subject, yeah, earlier. So for mathematics, yeah, how many person that are into mathematics whose favorite subject is mathematics, and based on these tables we can deduce that the frequency is 4, gitu ya. So 4 person, 4 people, 4 people favorite subjects is mathematics. Okay, so I think okay, can you say from this database, yeah, we can interfere, we can deduce several information. For example, what is the most favorite subject on this, based on this data? Bex.
Based on the data, there is, but the number of people who was in the number of people who vote on the subject or the favorite subjects, and there being
Yeah,
16
basically,
people
who-
who, yeah,
uh, which subject that has the highest frequency?
music.
Music, which mean you can see that we can we can assume that music is most likely the subject that almost everyone likes it, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. So what is the least favorite subject?
The least favorite subject is English. Somehow.
English, because
There's only one guy.
there, there's only one person vote vote English as their favorite subject. What is the percentage of the people that like mathematics, whose favorite subject is mathematics? What is the frequencies?
4.
The frequency, I'm sorry, the percentage.
Percentage.
Yeah, the percentage of people who
4 over
likes,
16. Or I guess
which is
2 over 8, which is 1 over
which is
4.
which is in percentage
Saying 25%.
5%. So if I ask you what is the percentage of the people who like science, the percentage of science, how many?
The percentage in science, saying half of 25.
which is
12.2. I mean 12.5.
12.5. Good. 12.5%. Okay. So you see that a lot from this data, we can deduce a lot of information from it, right? So you see that
Yeah.
you see how efficient a table is. Yeah, because based on this table, we can know the people favorite subject, we can know the percentage of each subject. Yeah. Compared to using words to describe the problems. Yeah. If you're using words to describe this problem, it will be long, right? So you have to write the favorite subject is mathematics with the frequency 4. Yeah. Not the yeah. One of the favorite subject is mathematics with frequency 4. And then you have to write art, 3, science, 2, and so on. With this table, it will be more efficient. Yeah. Okay. Next one. Okay. So there are some fundamental quantity that we as a statistician usually find first, that we need to find first before exploring the data. First one is the mode. Okay. So what is the mode, Bex?
The mode.
Yeah. What is mode? So
Uh,
what is a mode?
it's not trying to inform you anything, but the what mode is has been is there in front of the screen.
Huh?
The meaning of mode was quite literally in front of the screen.
No, 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 no. The right answer. The right answer. Give me the right answer.
The
So
mode
what
is
is a
the
mode?
number of frequencies.
No, not the number of frequencies.
Huh?
What is a mode?
Hmm. It had something to do with the number of frequencies.
Yes. Yeah, you're getting into the right path. But what is it?
The number of frequency per subject.
The number?
Of frequency per
No.
subject.
No.
Uh,
What is it, Vex?
uh, uh, oh, I forgot.
Forgot, yeah? Okay, I'm gonna remind you, yeah. So what is a mode? Mode basically a category with the most frequent, with the highest frequencies. Remember?
Oh,
Yeah?
so that means the thing that with the most frequencies.
Yeah, so for this data, what is the mode?
Music.
Music, yeah. Okay. So the mode is the abstraction, yeah. Basically the abstraction of, in this context, most favorite subject can be determined as a mode. Basically, this is a mode. Yeah. And why is this important? Yeah, because with mode, we can interfere we can infer a lot of things from the data, yeah, and it can be translated into a lot of information. Yeah, for example, in this context, mode represent the most favorite subject. Yeah. For other data, for example, in a data of customer purchase in in a restaurant. So the mode represent the highest purchase a customer have made, for example, in a month. Gitu. That's what it's done, the mode. Yeah. Okay, remember, yeah? So that's a mode, yeah? Okay. So this is the exercise, yeah? I think we're gonna skip this, okay? So to display a categorical data, there are some, okay? There are some choice that you can use. For example, a vertical column graph. So this is like this, yeah? So each data has its own bar or its column, yeah, and the height of the column represent the frequencies of each category. So this is a vertical column graph. Got it, yeah?
Got it.
Okay, we also have a horizontal bar chart. The way basically this is the same as a vertical column graph, but a horizontal bar chart means that the frequency represented by the x-axis. So we have x and y axis, right? So the y axis now in horizontal bar chart represent the subject, whereas the vertical column graph, the subject are represented by the x axis. Oh, I'm sorry. The subject is represented by the y axis in the horizontal bar chart, and for the vertical column graph, the subject is represented by the x axis. The y axis represent the frequencies. So the more long the bar, the higher the frequencies. Yeah, yeah. Get it, X? Yeah. So in pie chart, we also
Yeah.
have a pie chart. So basically, if we use a bar in this context, in pi we use a pi, which is a circle. But usually it is more difficult to what is it to be described without using tools. Yeah, yeah, because we have to really precise about the angles of the of each category. Yeah, because if you draw it wrong, meaning that the scale is not accurate, it will be prone to misinterpreted by other people who are seeing it. If they're not seeing the category, the description of the category, for example, the music 38%, if a person do not see it and only judging the frequencies based on only on their sizes, they will be misled. Example, you write the music, you misplace the music here, whereas this one is the mathematics. People who don't use people who don't see the category will think that mathematics has a higher percentage for others. Okay. Okay, that's it. So remember, yeah, vertical column graph, horizontal bar chart, and pie chart. Okay, so for example, the vertical column graph show the type of drink. So you see, yeah, I'm gonna. So what is the least popular drink? Yeah, of course, we can see from the height. Yeah, from the height, this is an iced coffee, right? What about B-Bex?
How about B?
The mode of the data,
Soft drinks.
soft drinks. What about C?
Let's say, hold up. Can't see the lines really well. Let's say 30. I
How many?
can't see the lines. The
It's
tiny
okay.
little gray lines.
Just assume how many.
5, 25, no, 25. Huh? 22.5, 25, 22.5.
Just
23?
assume how many. Huh?
23?
How many?
Oh, wait, no, 27.
Yeah, somewhere like that, yeah. 27. What about D? Okay, I want you to
D.
investigate the totals.
Okay, what
Just
percentage of students bought chocolate milk? Okay,
yeah, this is
chocolate milk,
the
let's
hard.
say, wait, how am I supposed to know if I can bear,
You
okay.
have to
Uh,
find the total first.
the thing is, there's not even a middle line.
It's all right. Just assume or just use an approximation to
28?
each. Okay, I'm gonna label how many orange juices for orange juices. It's 27, right? So how many for soft drink?
How many for soft drink?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I have 35?
Yeah, somewhere around that. Yeah. What about chocolate milk?
Chocolate milk. Uh, 28?
28. What about iced coffee?
10. Exactly 10.
Berapa? 10. Okay, so what is the
10.
percentage then of student bought chocolate milk?
uh, 20. No, with my calculator, not my calculations, it appears that it is 28 over 100, also known as 28%.
28.
Percent.
Okay. Okay, I'm just gonna believe you. Yeah, 28%. Okay, let's see the official solution. Iced coffee, soft drink, 27. Whoa, you got it right. Yeah, even though that's cool of you. Even though we don't really know the scale. Yeah, but okay, good job. 27. And then okay, so it's not 28, yeah, Bexa. It's supposed to be 18 because it's below 20, right? 18 too. Yeah?
Yeah.
Ah, and also this is 10. Yeah, but yeah, the tolerance is 8% is okay, yeah. 30%. Okay. Okay, let's next, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we're gonna take a break first, because I haven't prayed Maghrib, so I think we're gonna have a break for I think 5 minutes. Okay, is that okay with you?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay,
Bye.
see you again later. I'm gonna leave the Zoom first, yeah. You stay here, just stay here. Okay. Okay, let's continue, Bex. Can you hear my voice?
Okay.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna continue. Okay. Uh, where are we at? Last time? Okay. So we have learned about comparing about categorical data. Now we're gonna move on to how to compare categorical data. Yeah. So uh, basically, yeah, to understand the significance of the result, yeah, usually we often need to compare two data sets, ya. For example, comparison, ya. Jadi perbandingan itu sebetulnya tidak harus antar dua data. Jadi sebetulnya comparison itu we already done comparison ever since we are seeing a categorical data, ya. So basically for this one, ya. Let's say that we have one set of categorical data like this, yeah. So we already compare from each category to the another, right? From the beginning, right? Ya nggak? Betul nggak, Bex?
Ya.
Ya, jadi sebetulnya kita sudah melakukan komparasi perbandingan antara one category to another, ya. Kenapa? Why do we do that? Ya, because to extract information from the from the data set, ya. So in order to have a information, we have to make a comparison. Now, along the way, to gather more information, we also need to consider another data. So example, at the start of the chapter, we studied the favorite, uh, for example, yeah, at the start of the chapter, we discuss about the favorite subject, right? Favorite subject data set, which is like this, yeah. Now, this one is the data for the Alan class, yeah, for example. So for Alan class, so this is the data for the separate subject. But now we need to consider the students, the favorite subject in Bill's classes, yeah, which uh, which can be represented using this one, yeah. So why do we use bar chart, yeah? This is a vertical bar chart or horizontal bar chart, Bex?
Uh, what's the name? Uh, what's the name of this?
Bar chart.
Uh, yeah, it's not a pie chart. It's not a pie chart. It's a
Yeah,
chart.
not a
What's the name? A vertical chart.
bar chart. Bar chart.
What?
A bar
Oh,
chart.
bar chart. Yeah.
Yeah. So is it a vertical bar chart or a horizontal bar
Vertical.
chart?
Horizontal. It will
Yeah.
be what's the name? Horizontal will be left to right.
Yes. Okay. Good. Yeah. Now we use bar chart because we want to compare. Yeah. For example, yeah, we want to compare for these cases favorite subject of two classes. Yeah. Alan classes and Bill classes. Yeah. Therefore, for mathematics itself, we have two data for the Alan class and for the Bill class, gitu ya. And for the art, we have Alan and Bill also, gitu ya. And by using this, we can compare by side, right? Compare the side by side. Okay, now we can gather more information from these backs. For example, yeah, Alan, in Alan class, and maybe for mathematics, yeah. Which one has the higher frequency, the Alan class or Bill class? For mathematics.
For mathematics,
In Alan
mostly it's
class,
Allen's.
Alan's. What about music?
Bill.
in art class? Huh?
In art class, Bill.
Music.
Music. It's Alan.
Alan's, yeah. What
English,
about
Bill. Sciences, both.
both, yeah. So you see that a lot of what is the mode for Alan's classes? The modes.
The most for Alan's class is music.
Yes. The mode in Alan's class is
Music.
come on. Music. What about Bill's?
Music.
In
It's
Bill's
art.
art, yeah. Okay. So this is comparing. This is comparing. Okay. Now numerical data. Okay, numerical. So what makes it different from categorical? Do you know?
The numerical data. It's similar to categorical data, except for the what's the name? Instead of something like a art class or mathematical class, it's straight up just numbers.
But I told you earlier, right? Categorical data can also be a number.
Numbers.
Categorical data can also be numbers. So what makes numerical and categorical data different? The keyword. What is the keyword?
Uh, the keyword.
Hmm. Ayo, apa?
Uh,
Ayo apa? Ayo. Come on. Keywordnya range. Apa? Coba di-develop dari situ. Range. What makes categorical data and numerical data different?
the numerical data only has a set of numbers.
What is it?
Oh, how did? Oh, I was saying the data is numbers in numerical data. In categorical data, it's the what's the name? It's the numbers of categories or but
Number of
numerical
category.
data.
Ya, jadi kalau categorical data bisa number gak? Categorical data. Bisa number gak?
I don't know.
I'm already giving you an example, right? Earlier.
Yeah.
Jadi kita lihat lagi ya. Jadi kalau categorical data itu bisa bilangan, bisa a number. Tapi bedanya dia punya range. Numbernya itu punya range. Jadi misalkan tadi nih, ya. Bex, Alvar, Rila, Rinaldi. Kategorinya itu dia bisa 5, bisa 1, bisa 3, bisa 4. Jadi kategorinya itu kita define dulu kategorinya apa. Ada low spender, super low spender, intermediate. Nah, instead of kita nulisin satu-satu, low spender, super low spender gitu ya, maka aku assign ke tiap kategori ke sebuah angka. Yaitu 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nah, cuman artinya apa di sini? Artinya categorical data itu bisa number, tapi numbernya itu it's belong to some range. So for this example, the range of the categorical data is from 1 to 5. The category is 1 to 5. Got it gak?
Yeah.
Nah, jadi kalau numerical gimana? Kalau numerical gimana? Pembedanya apa dengan categorical?
Categorical. Same. Instead of numbers, it has words in it.
No. Jadi kalau numerical itu angkanya itu sembarang, Bex. It's an arbitrary
Oh,
number. Nah, jadi kalau misalkan categorical data kan ini nggak sembarang ya nggak? Kamu harus pilih satu, either 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, betul nggak?
yeah.
Tapi kalau misalkan numerical, let's say the numerical ya, numerical example. If you see the numerical, ya, angkanya bisa sembarang. Nggak harus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Tapi misalkan, ya, mana ya? Cut. Mana ya? Tapi memang ya, mungkin kalau di buku memang definisi dari numerical data itu memang pasti number form sih. Oke, jadi mungkin ini untuk ini perbedaan di buku aja ya. Jadi kalau di buku pasti dia sebuah bilangan, oke? Pasti.
Okay.
Oke, jadi ini di note aja ya. Kalau di buku dia sebuah bilangan. Tapi kalau secara abstraknya ya sebetulnya numerical data itu categorical data itu bisa number gitu. Tapi dia fixed range gitu. Either dari 1 sampai 5. Oke? Jadi kalau untuk di buku ini kita pakai asumsinya ini ya, Bex ya. Numerical data in the book defined as a data given in number. Tapi kalau misalkan secara realnya, secara abstrak, a number that is an arbitrary I don't know how to write it. Arbitrary.
Arbitrary.
Arbitrary,
that's correct.
ya. Ya, this correct ya. Oke. Arbitrary number, ya. Jadi kalau dia sembarang, artinya kamu nggak bisa nebak nih, dia bakal mengeluarkan angka berapa istilahnya gitu. Bisa 20, bisa 100, itu berarti ya numerical data. Misalkan apa? Kamu bisa kasih example nggak numerical data itu gimana? Yang sembarang. Data apa yang angkanya itu sembarang?
Like 71s.
No. The example of data. Jadi kayak data apa gitu. Data ini, data itu apa? Coba.
The data of the what's the name? Number of students that.
Number of student?
In a team or a same.
You know? What is it?
In a sports team, let's say.
In a sport, what is it? Sports
Team.
Sports team. Ya, mungkin ya bisa kayak gitu. Ya. Jadi numerical data itu misalkan a number of instrument. 0 ada 0, 1, 2, 3. Nah, frekuensinya di sini sembarang kan? 5, 7, 3, 1 gitu kan ya. Gitu. Ya. Tapi sebetulnya ya kalau dengan menggunakan definisi abstrak, maka ini disebut sebagai ini still categorized as a categorical data. Ya nggak? Betul nggak, Bex?
Yeah.
Menggunakan definisi abstrak. Karena kita lihat bahwa si number of instrumentnya itu finite. Dalam artian dia di range 0 sampai 3. Gitu. Kalau mau contoh misalkan data temperatur. Example ya. Temperature data. Temperature data itu ya. Temperature data ini atau bisa juga kamu bilang bahwa numerical data itu bisa numerical data itu dia bisa pecahan atau decimals. Gitu. Jadi kenapa gitu? Misalkan data temperatur. Temperature itu kan bisa decimal, bisa even negative, right? Whereas kalau misalkan categorical data, itu pasti dia adalah sebuah number. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, etc. So it must be an integer. Oke? Nah, oke. Tapi ya, untuk kemudahan ini nanti kalau misalkan di ujian ya, we assume that numerical data is any data that are given in number form. Oke, kita akan gunakan definisi di buku aja ya. To avoid confusion.
Yeah.
Oke? Oke. Okay, let's see ya. Nah, to display numerical data, we have a lot of options. We can use a column graph. Basically, the column graph is the same as for the categorical data, tapi the categories, instead of using categories, we are using numbers. Nah, jadi kayak misalkan tadi number instrument. Kalau tadi kan menggunakan kategori ya, ada math, ada art, ada sciences, ya, ada music, ya. But instead of using categories, using words, we are using numbers. Nah, kita juga punya dot plots, ya. Nah, kalau ini adalah dot plots are used when we have a small amount of data and not many possible value for the data. And each dot represent a data value, gitu. Nah, ini kita bisa, kalau ini interpretasinya bebas, Bex. Ya. Kenapa bebas? Karena kamu bisa menganggap satu dot ini sebagai quantity berapapun. Kalau misalkan I assign this one dot represent one instrument, for example. Nah, maka nanti datanya ini ada sebanyak 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Jadi a number of instrument that zero number of instrument, ada 6% lah bisa dibilang. Jadi ini 1% ya, bukan one instrument ya. Mungkin lebih tepatnya 1% ya. Karena satu dot ini merepresentasikan satu orang gitu. Tapi kan bisa aja misalkan aku merepresentasikan satu dot ini sebagai 2 orang, 2%. Maka interpretasi dari data ini akan berbeda karena berarti the people that are not bringing instrument, which is 0 instrument, itu ada menjadi 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 gitu. Jadi each dot represent a data value and those data value must be defined at the very beginning. Ya. Is it representing one person or is it representing one object gitu ya. Jadi so you have to define it at the first one. Nah, yang mungkin agak bingung itu adalah stem and leaf plots ya. Jadi a stem and leaf plot display a set of data in order of size gitu ya. Jadi kalau misalkan kita punya data demikian 21, 33, 41, 17, 24 dan seterusnya gitu ya. Nah, for each data value the unit digits is used as the leaf and the digits before it determine the stem. Jadi stem itu kan batang ya. Leaf itu daun. Jadi diagram batang dan daun. Batang itu adalah si dalam hal ini ya, batangnya itu adalah si bilangan puluhannya. Sedangkan the leaf is the bilangan apanya? Bilangan bilangan apanya itu? Bilangan satuan. Ya. Jadi kalau misalkan kita punya unordered stem and leaf plot, gitu ya. Jadi kalau misalkan kita punya data begini, ya, kita punya satu, ini adalah stemnya. Jadi this one is what we call the stem. This one is the stem ya.
Ya.
Nah, yang ini disebut sebagai apanya? Leaf-nya kan? Betul nggak?
Ya.
Ini leaf-nya. Nah, berarti coba ada nggak pada data yang unordered, ada nggak bilangan 65 pada datanya?
Ya.
Hah?
Hah?
Pada unordered stem and leaf plot, which is this one, is there
Ya.
exist number 65 on the data based on this stem and leaf plot?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Kenapa demikian?
Right.
Hah?
No, 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 no.
Oh. Coba sebutkan angka apa saja yang ada di sini.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
How to read the unordered? How to read the stem and leaf? Jadi kalau misalkan ada 17 itu means 17, bukan 1 sama 7. Gitu. Paham nggak? Jadi kalau misalkan ini 2, ada 2 sama 1, itu artinya adalah angka 21 tuh ada. Kalau 2 sama 4, itu artinya 4 ada. Kalau ada 2 sama 6, berarti 26 itu ada. Jadi the stem represent itu the first digit. And the leaf, which is this one, represent the second ya for this one. Second digit. Berarti angka apa saja Bex yang ada di sini? Coba. Angka apa saja yang ada di sini?
There's 12, 15,
Nggak usah berurut, nggak apa-apa.
17, 18.
Coba di ini aja. Sesuai urutan di sini aja.
There's 17, 12,
Nah.
15, 19, 12, again, 18, 21, 24, 26, 23, 29, 20, 25, yeah.
Oke, until 72 ya. Nah, sekarang aku coba tanya, berapa banyak angka 21 dalam data ini? Berapa banyak angka 21? How many 21 in this data based on this stem and leaf plot? 2. How many 40?
2.
2. Nah, jadi kalau bisa dilihat ya, our searching of certain data will be much more easier ya if we use stem and leaf ya. Because sekarang kita tidak usah peduli dengan for example if I told you to find 40, berarti kamu lihat stem 4, stemnya 4. Nah, sekarang how many zeros on the leaf ya? Ada 1 and 2. Gitu. Jadi kamu tidak perlu menyebutkan lagi angka-angkanya gitu. Ya. Gitu ya.
Oke.
Berarti total ada berapa angka di sini, Bex? Ada berapa data di sini?
Total as in is it
How many
how many numbers? Or like
this?
Yeah.
How many numbers?
Okay, so that means there's
how many numbers in this
30.
stem? 30. Okay, good ya.
30.
Paham ya? Paham ya? So this is how you read stem and leaf. Berarti kalau misalkan untuk stem tree, how many numbers in stem tree?
In stem 3?
In stem tree.
8.
How many leaf 0? How many leaf 2 in the data? Leaf 2 in the plot. Leaf ya, ingat leaf.
How many number 2 leaves?
Yes.
4.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Which one is the other two? Oh,
At the
this one
bottom.
ya? 2.
Mhm.
Oke, paham ya? Jadi begitu untuk baca stem and leaf. Oke, kita lanjut. Ya, oke, we're gonna skip the latihan ya. Nah, sekarang kita akan mempelajari tentang measuring the center and the spread. Jadi, other than we know the mode of the data, we also know how to know the center of the data. And also the spread. Jadi, tengahnya dan persebaran di sekitar tengah-tengah. Kenapa ini penting? Karena from the data, we want to know the frequent. Jadi kalau misalkan nih ya, kita mau cari, kita punya data. Customer consumption of a coffee in a cafe ya, for example ya. Kamu misalkan mau
Hmm.
cari coffee mana nih yang paling laku, which type of coffee that are most frequently bought by the customer. Nah, cara nyari datanya kan berarti kamu nyari apanya? Kamu nyari apanya, Bex? Kalau kamu deh, kamu misalkan disuruh
Mhm.
untuk to analyze, kamu dikasih data, and then kamu harus dari data tersebut, kamu harus cari kira-kira kopi apa nih yang paling laku. Nah, berarti kamu nyarinya gimana? Kamu cari apa?
Uh,
Kira-kira apa yang harus dicari? Atau apa
for
deh? Atau what will you do? Gitu.
what will I do with the data?
Ya, to basically ya, untuk cari tahu kira-kira kopi mana yang paling laku.
Oh.
Hah?
I uh
You what? Bingung?
I
Bingung nggak apa-apa.
yeah.
Oke. Jadi begini, berarti kalau kamu dikasih data, berarti pertama kamu cari dari pembelian customer, gitu ya. Ya kan berarti kamu kan pasti dikasih nih pelanggan ini dia beli kopi apa, harganya berapa, ya nggak? Pasti kayak gitu kan?
Yeah.
Jadi
Mhm.
imagine kita punya datanya itu, kita kolomnya itu punya datanya adalah ada nama customernya, ada jenis kopinya yang dia beli, dan ada price-nya. Ya, kamu punya tiga kolom sekarang. Nah, gimana caranya untuk
Mhm.
cari kopi apa yang paling banyak diminati? Ya. Nah, berarti kamu cari kopinya, misalkan ini customer satu, dia jenis kopinya Arabica. Arabica price-nya adalah 20.000 gitu kan ya. Kalau misalkan customer 2 dia beli eh, apa? Luwak, dia beli luwak harganya 20.000, 25.000. Customer 3 misalkan dia beli Arabica juga. Dia beli harga berapa? Harga 20.000 juga. Ada customer 4, dia beli eh, Starbucks misalkan ya, Starbucks. Dia beli bukan Starbucks ya, apa ya mungkin ya jenisnya ya. Eh, white coffee ya misalkan. White harganya misalkan 30.000. Nah, dari sini kita bisa lihat gimana caranya. Kita nyari Arabica. Kita nyari mode-nya untuk cari favorit orang. Ternyata kalau mode-nya dari sini apa? Jenis kopi apa yang paling disukai Bex? Arabica, luwak atau white?
Yang paling disukain.
Uh-uh.
Arabica.
Arabica. Walaupun even though the data does not state explicitly bahwa orang-orang itu sukanya itu Arabica, but we can and we are allowed to make that assumption bahwa the highest purchasing of coffee represent the likeliness of those coffee. Karena nggak mungkin dong orang beli kopi yang nggak dia suka, betul nggak? Ya nggak?
Ya.
Iya. Jadi of course data ini bisa merefleksikan gitu. Nah itu bisa dicari lewat apa? Makanya kita harus cari. Nah ini mood. Ini mood. Nah sekarang misalkan aku tanya, orang berani ngeluarin berapa sih untuk rata-rata nih? Orang-orang tuh berani mengeluarkan uang berapa untuk membeli kopi? Misalkan nih ada customer 5. Customer 5 dia belinya kopi termahal, black coffee misalkan. Black coffee from Africa. Harganya 100.000 gitu. Nah, jadi kan ini beda ya dari kebiasaan orang-orang. Dia beli the usual customer usually buy 20,000, 25,000, 20,000, 30,000 ya. Tiba-tiba ada 100.000 gitu loh. Nah, ini yang kita sebut sebagai outlier. Masih ingat gak outlier apa?
Dia the least.
No. Jadi outlier itu
total?
the anomaly. The
Oh.
anomaly. Do you know what is an anomaly?
Oh, yeah, because the price is ranged around 30 to 20, but suddenly there's this one with 100.
Ya. Jadi di luar kebiasaan orang. Orang-orang biasanya beli 20.000, 25.000, 30.000, but somehow this customer berani mengeluarkan 100.000 untuk kopi. Nah, makanya tapi kan ini di luar kebiasaan. Kalau misalkan kita berarti nih, kalau misalkan kita membuat decision only by the customer 5 purchases, ya udah kita bikin all the coffee is 100,000 misalkan. Nah, masalahnya kan ini di luar kebiasaan orang-orang, ya enggak? This is outlier. Makanya kita cari mean-nya. Ya, cari mean itu gimana? Mean itu kan sum of data values divided by the number of data values. Jadi kalau sum-nya ini untuk price-nya, misalkan mean dari average price-nya itu berarti kan 20.000 ditambah 25, benar nggak? Tambah 20, tambah 30, tambah 100. Dibagi berapa? Dan number of data values-nya berapa, Bex? 5 ya?
Ya.
Ya, karena ada 5 data. Ada customer 1, customer 2, until customer 5. Nah, kalau kita jumlahkan ini berarti 20 tambah 20, 40. 40 tambah 30, 70. 70 tambah 25, 95. 195 dibagi 5, which is berapa ini? 5, berapa nih? 39.000. Jadi orang rata-rata mengeluarkan 39.000. Dari 5 customer ini dia mengeluarkan rata-rata 39. Nah, berarti dengan mean ini kamu bisa menjadikan ini sebagai benchmark, tolak ukur untuk menilai, oh berarti harga yang harusnya diberikan kepada kopi saya itu 39 karena orang rata-rata berani merogoh kocek 39.000 untuk one coffee. Gitu. Paham nggak? Jadi jadi kebayang nggak penggunaan dari mean ini?
Ya.
Gitu. Ya, jadi kebayang. Kita jadinya bisa memutuskan gitu. Oh, oke, kalau saya punya kopi, kita lihat datanya. That's why kenapa ada profesi misalkan data scientist. Nah, If you ever heard about data scientist, ya kenapa disebutin scientist ya? Karena dia bisa mendeduce a data. Jadi bukan dia bisa menerjemahkan data. Kalau kita nggak olah, maka dia data just a data, right? But if we can process
You
it,
can understand and then communicate data.
You can understand the behavior. The behavior, for example, the behavior of customer. Oh, customer maunya sukanya yang 30 kopi harga 25.000, 20.000 gitu ya. Atau bahkan ya kalau misalkan if you already kalau misalkan kamu suka data gitu ya, bahkan we can berdasarkan kalimat orang gitu ya, dia bisa tahu kira-kira orang ini lagi marah atau lagi sedih atau lagi murung, bisa itu di data scientist ya, just for your information ya. Jadi kita punya data misalkan teks apa gitu ya, kalau kita kan manusia we can already detect gitu ya based on the text itu gimana. Misalkan chat orang, aku sedih, misalkan jawabnya dia singkat-singkat gitu kan ya. Biasanya padahal dia biasanya panjang, mungkin lagi murung gitu ya kalau kita kan. Tapi kan kalau komputer dia memandang sebuah kalimat ya sebagai sebuah susunan kata aja kan, susunan dari karakter-karakter kan. Nah, tapi sekarang dengan data scientist sekarang dia bisa istilahnya bisa memprediksi kira-kira apakah ini negatif, behavioralnya negatif kah, or positif, gitu itu bisa ditentuin sekarang. Jadi so that's the power of data ya, just for your information, oke? Okay? Nah, dia fundamentalnya nih kita harus tahu dulu mean, gitu ya, mean. Kemudian kita juga punya median. Ya, median itu middle value, right? Kenapa perlu cari median? Misalkan tadi data tadi. Oke, kita punya data banyak banget gitu ya. Tapi sekarang kalau misalkan kita mau cari nilai tengahnya, biasanya orang beli di harga berapa sih tengah-tengahnya itu? Nah, kalau kita urutin kan ini ada 20, 25, 20, 30, 100 kan kalau kita urutin, aku tulis 20, 25-nya aja ya. Jadi kan awalnya 20, 25, 20, 30, 100 ya kan? Nah, ini kalau diurutin kan berarti jadi 20, 20 ya enggak? 25, 30 dan 100. Nah, median itu nilai tengahnya. Nilai tengahnya berapa di sini, Baik? Berapa nilai tengahnya?
25.
25 ya. Berarti apa maksudnya? Orang yang berada di interval tengah-tengah ya, kebanyakan orang biasanya beli di harga 25 gitu. Nah, itu juga bisa juga jadi selain median, kita juga bisa menggunakan mean. Mean, median itu saling melengkapi gitu. Nah, tapi jangan lupa kalau misalkan dia itu buat data yang odd. What about even data? For example, 10, 10, 20, 30. Mediannya berapa? Tengah-tengahnya berapa?
Let's say
Karena kan nggak ada tengah-tengahnya yang pas di tengah-tengah, benar nggak?
yeah.
Nah, berarti caranya gimana?
Oh, this. Oh no, I forgot. It was something to do with 10 and 20 and
What do you do with that?
10 plus 20 divided by 2 because there's 2.
Nah, jadi kamu ambil dua data di
15.
tengah ini. Jadi kamu anggap ini sebagai satu data. Nah, jadi
Yeah,
kamu ini
15.
tambahkan terus bagi dua. Nah, sehingga ini di tengah-tengah kan, di kiri satu, di kanan satu, ya nggak? So, what is the median?
15.
15. Jadi kalau dia odd number data, kalau even ya, ini even ya. Kalau even, maka kamu ambil tengah-tengahnya, dua di tengah ini. Kalau misalkan odd, maka ya ambil aja langsung di tengah. Karena pasti ada yang di tengah-tengah kalau odd. Oke, kurang lebih gitu. Itu untuk median. Nah, ini mode tadi ya. The mode is the score in the data set which occur most often. Gitu ya. Jadi kalau Tapi the mode itu juga bisa disebut sebagai bimodal. Ada data yang kita sebut sebagai bimodal. Apa itu bimodal? B itu 2. B itu 2. Nah, bimodal itu adalah data yang punya 2 mode. Artinya ada 2 value yang occurrence-nya itu juga dia frekuensinya sama, tertingginya. Jadi misalkan ini ya, ini tuh dia adalah bimodal. Kenapa? Karena nilai dari 3 itu munculnya sama-sama. Salah, bukan ini. Oke, data bimodal aku kasih contoh ya. 0, ini bimodal. 0, 2, 2, 3, 5, 7, 8, 8, 9, 10. Ah, ini bimodal bukan, Max?
Bimodal.
Is this a bimodal?
Oh, it is because yeah, it's 10.
Because apa?
So because there's 10 and divided by 2, each of them has an equal number, or what's the name, does not have decimals. So that means there's no number quite literally in between. So we need to use the 2 numbers that is the closest in between, 5 and 7. 5 plus 7 divided by 2 is
median. This is mode.
Oh, this is mode.
Yeah.
Oh, bimodal.
Apakah data
The
ini
data
ada
is bimodal and will list both values as modes. Then wait, what are we looking for again?
Is this a bimodal data set or not?
Yes.
Because
it is an equal number.
Huh?
It is a number that is what's the name? What's the name? That is I forgot what the name was. There's 2 types of numbers, like there's 1, 3, 5, and then there's 2, 4, 6. I forgot what the name was. Equal numbers and
No. Mode dulu deh. Mode itu apa?
Mode is the what's the name? The highest number.
Nah, jadi kalau misalkan ini di atas nih 0, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, 5, 5, 6, 7, 9, kira-kira mode-nya apa?
Ya.
Kira-kira what is the mode? Hah?
9.
Mode itu occurrence-nya, Max. Frequency. We do not look for the
how much it occurs.
Yes, itu mode kan?
Oh,
Kan
okay.
the score in the dataset which occurs most often. Mode. Berarti mode-nya berapa?
Okay, this one has 22 and 88.
Hah?
The one that you made, the 0, 2, 2, 3, 5, 7, 8, 8, 9, 10. It's 8, 8. It's the 8 and 2.
Therefore, is it a B model or not?
Yes.
B model. Ya, kenapa? Karena kalau B model itu artinya there is 2 value that has the same highest frequency. Highest frequency-nya kan 2. Nah, kita cari berapa yang ada 2 frekuensinya, yaitu nomor 2, skor 2, dan skor 8. Dengan frekuensinya adalah 2. Nah, kalau misalkan dataset ini, ya, kenapa nggak disebut bimodal? Karena si 5 ini kita berarti 5 ini kan yang tertinggi ya, 3 kan? Frekuensinya 3, betul nggak?
Ya.
Nah, now we find, is there any score that also occurs 3 times? Nggak ada kan? Hanya paling 3. 3 itu munculnya cuma 2 kali. Ya nggak? Oke?
Yeah.
Jadi harus dibedakan, Max. Which one is mode, which one is B model. Oke?
Okay.
Nah, kalau if more than two data value occur most frequently, we do not use the mode as a measure of the center of the dataset. For example ya, aku punya misalkan ya 0, 0, 0, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 6, 8, 9. Nah, ini berarti ada mode nggak? Ada mode-nya nggak?
Ada.
Ada, karena
Apa namanya? Karena because there's 22 to there's 3, 3, 3.
Hah?
Hah?
Ya, ada 3, 3, 3, ya, that's right. But kenapa? Ayo.
Oh,
Karena
because the other ones is, for example, for the 2, it's actually not 3 twos, it's 2 and 22. And there's also
no,
0.
sorry. This is 2, 2, 2, not 22.
Oh. Then that means we have 3 modes.
Nah, dia bilang apa? If more than two data values occur most frequently, artinya kalau kamu punya 3 mode, itu berarti kamu nggak punya mode sebetulnya. Paham nggak?
Oh.
Jadi,
Yeah.
karena kan kita mau cari mode itu adalah yang tertinggi. Kalau misalkan ada lebih dari 2, what the point? Ya nggak? What the point of searching a mode? Orang frekuensinya sama, gitu kan ya, sama-sama 3 kalau di sini kan. Berarti dia nggak istimewa dong, karena kan mode itu bisa dibilang special value because it has the highest frequency. Kalau sama ya ngapain, ya kan? Betul nggak?
Mm-hmm.
Oke. Jadi harus dibedakan which one is B model, which data is mode, which one is the B model, and which one that does not have a mode. Okay, so this one does not have a mode. Nah, spread itu ini ya, basically spread itu range ya, maximum value kurang minimum value, itu range-nya ya. Kenapa butuh range? Karena kamu jadi tahu spread-nya, sebaran dari sebuah data itu gimana. Nah, misalkan 17 students were asked how many days they had stayed homesick. Nah, dia bilang ternyata jadi kalau range itu kan maksimum kurang minimum. Range-nya kan ini maksimumnya 9, minimumnya adalah 1. Berarti range-nya adalah 9 kurang 1 sama dengan 8. Artinya apa? Artinya persebarannya itu lumayan gede. Orang rata-rata artinya adalah kalau kita nemu orang sakit nih, orang sakit kamu tanya,
Yeah.
student
Mm-hmm.
sick gitu ya, kamu tanya berapa banyak orang gitu, kamu tanya 10 orang atau 15 orang. Itu bisa jadi sangat ekstrim gitu. Bisa jadi orang itu sakitnya cuma sehari, tapi bisa juga dia bisa sakitnya 9 hari. Nah, tapi kalau misalkan nih, kamu nemunya range-nya ternyata cuma 2 hari gitu. Cuma 2 hari. Nah, bisa jadi kamu nemunya berarti ya orang bakal seragam gitu. Artinya seragam itu dalam artian kamu nanya orang satu nih, "Kamu bolos berapa hari?" 2 hari. Kamu nanya seorang selanjutnya, paling cuma 3 hari misalkan. Orang selanjutnya 2 hari lagi, orang selanjutnya 3 hari, orang selanjutnya lagi 4 hari. Nah, jadi mainnya itu cuman ya paling orang itu cuman bolosnya itu di 2 hari apa 4 hari gitu. Ya nggak?
Ya.
Jadi kamu bisa tahu kira-kira, jadi dengan ada with you know the range, the spread gitu ya, persebarannya, maka kamu tahu kira-kira ketika kamu punya data baru misalkan ya. So basically jadi kalau misalkan if you know the spread, kamu bisa prediksi kira-kira orang baru nih, misalkan kamu tanya lagi, kira-kira berapa hari sih dia bakal sakitnya gitu. Kamu udah bisa prediksi gitu lah. That's the use of data. Gitu. Apalagi if you have a large data set gitu ya. Kalau misalkan datanya cuma segini, ini kan cuma 15 orang, kamu tanya 17 orang kan. Kalau cuma 17 orang kan berarti kamu bisa aja. Misalkan kamu nanya 100 orang misalkan, itu bisa jadi beda. Tapi kalau misalkan kamu datanya dari awal punya misalkan 5.000 orang, kamu tanya orang lagi, kamu akan lebih percaya akan lebih confident dengan spread kamu gitu ya, range kamu gitu. Nah, itu berguna juga misalkan kamu di bidang data ya, kita nyentuh lagi bidang data. Di bidang data scientist itu the more data that you are having, usually the good ya, the more it's good ya. Karena begini Max, dengan kamu punya lebih banyak data, that means you can get the unlinear in non-linear pattern from the data. Karena kamu bisa dapat patternnya nih, semakin banyak datanya. Kalau misalkan kamu cuma punya dikit data, maka usually you cannot get the bigger picture. But once you get the bigger picture, meaning that you have larger data, ya berarti kamu bisa mendapat data polanya gitu ya. Tapi kan kadang bisa juga dengan semakin banyak data, kamu bisa jadi kamu menangkap kayak misalkan tadi tuh anomaly ya. Kamu bisa jadi dengan kamu punya lebih banyak data, anomalinya lebih banyak gitu. Oke? Jelas ya Bex ya? Nah, sama paling ini data collection ya. Yang terakhir ya, data collection itu kamu bisa collect data itu by a lot of method ya. Kamu bisa lewat census ya. Census is involve collecting data about every individual in the target population ya. Kalau census itu kamu mau meneliti orang Indonesia, misalkan jangan-jangan orang Indonesia itu dia gampang diabetes gitu ya. Nah, kamu misalkan collect the sample of blood gitu ya. Nah, kamu misalkan kalau census it means that you collect all of the Indonesian people blood sample, blood gitu ya. Lalu kamu masukin itu census. Jadi biasanya census itu for a bigger scale gitu ya. Skala besar. Karena kamu menargetkan every individual in the population ya. Nah, kita udah belajar ya, what is a population, what is a sample ya. Nah, kalau sampel itu collecting only a part of the target population. Jadi kalau misalkan kamu meneliti tentang penyakit diabetes orang Indonesia, kamu untuk kalau misalkan sampel, you only take maybe ya misalkan just 10% of 5% of the total Indonesian population. Karena kan ya it will be expensive ya if you took all Indonesian blood sample gitu ya. Jadi kamu only took the only 1/10 of it. Nah, tapi bisa juga dalam sampling itu kamu bisa bias. Nah, ini yang kita sebut bias ya. Apa yang disebut bias itu? Bias itu adalah jadi for the properties of a sample ya. Jadi ketika mengambil sampel kita harus namanya objektif, nggak boleh namanya bias. Gitu ya. Kenapa bisa bias ya? Karena bias itu, for example ya, suppose you want to find the ages of people living in South Africa ya. So if you ask the ages of a selection of student living in South African high school, ya kamu kan hanya akan, jadi kamu nih misalkan mau cari ya the ages of people living in South Africa gitu ya. Kalau kamu cuma nanya orang-orang Afrika yang ada di high school, kamu nanyanya orang-orang yang ada di sekitar high school, ya tentu rata-ratanya orangnya muda, betul nggak? Ya nggak, Bex?
Ya.
Ya, karena ya kamu kan di SMA gitu ya, ngambil sampelnya. You're in the high school ya, of course. Most of the people in the high school are a teenager. Maybe just a little who had the ages over 30 ya. Maybe just the teachers or the staff on the schools gitu ya. But most likely you will find student there where student is range to one for a high school ya maybe around 14 atau 17 gitu. Artinya gimana? Untuk bisa representatif kamu harus mengambil sampel dari berbagai lokasi gitu. Ya bisa jadi kamu bisa ngambil di SMA, bisa ngambilnya di station. Nah, station itu kan beragam ya. Beragam karena ada banyak orang di situ. Ada orang yang mau kerja, ada yang mau berangkat sekolah, ada yang mau misalkan ya banyak lah ya. Banyak gitu. Jadi memang harus menyesuaikan gitu ya. Nah, sample size itu pun juga nah, tadi aku bilang for the result of a sample to be reliable, sampelnya juga harus sufficiently large ya. Sufficiently large doesn't mean it's large gitu ya. Sufficiently large itu tergantung dari data kita gitu. Jadi kalau misalkan kita ingin mengukur average height, misalkan kamu mengukur nih, kamu sebagai dokter, kamu harus mengukur ketinggian daripada orang-orang di Afrika gitu. Nah, karena kan biasanya orang-orang yang pendek, mohon maaf ya, stunting gitu ya, yang kena stunting atau dwarfism. You ever heard about dwarfism, Max?
Ya.
Dwarfism ya. Jadi orang-orang apa istilahnya dalam bahasa Indonesia ya? Kerdil gitu ya. Nah, biasanya kita nilai dari average height-nya gitu. Karena height itu bisa, karena pada batas usia tertentu itu biasanya ada usia batas ketinggiannya kan. Jadi ya agak aneh dong kalau misalkan udah umur 9 tahun misalkan, tapi ketinggiannya masih kayak anak bayi. Kan agak aneh ya. Jadi memang biasanya lewat height. Nah, kalau misalkan kita hanya mengukurnya sedikit orang, bisa-bisa aja jangan-jangan bias hasil kita. Misalkan kita ingin menilainya untuk ukuran satu Afrika gitu. Kita cuma mengukur cuman misalkan di satu lokasi gitu. Misalkan di cuman di South Africa misalkan gitu. Jadi kan bias. Jadi harus sufficiently large. Oke, paling untuk materi kita aku selesaikan untuk materi statistics. So, jadi aku ingetin lagi untuk hari Kamis there will be a quiz regarding about statistics, this chapter and also the previous one about probability. Waktunya mungkin sekitar 70 menit. So you can also use your calculator. So I expect you to prepare for the material ya, Bex ya. Oke?
Oke.
Betul? Jadi kurang lebih begitu. Oke deh. Thank you Bex for the active participation. So I'll be seeing you again on Thursday ya, Bex ya. On Thursday. Oke. Bye-bye Bex. See you again. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.